another weekend out, another live stream. Possibly going to be interrupted by a storm. It's gone quiet around my place. It was quite noisy and stormy half an hour to an hour ago. Good comeback. So hi, Abigail and Shieldsy and Megaleech, who are already in the chat. Good to see you. So yeah, we'll have to play. Also, I don't know how much energy I've got, so we shall play this by ear and see what happens as a thing. I made a slightly different drink, pineapple and cranberry, and it's yummy. I enjoy it, so that's a plus. Experiment. Speaking of experiments, I got this the other day. I was always looking for teas, as in tea, different sorts of tea, to experiment with flavors for drinks. Now, this one I'd never seen before is almond, Italian almond, with artisanal Sri Lankan nutmeg. And what I thought I could use this as a flavoring for is there's a type of sweetener that's usually made with almond. And so I was thinking of making a sugar syrup that also had that tea in it for something different. And it would be, the sweetener is called orgeat. Spelling it looks like it's called orgeat. There seems, because it's French, I suppose, there seems to be some common agreement that it's pronounced orgeat. But yes, it's like traditionally an almond flavored sweetener. So I saw that and I thought, I could do that. And because instead of just mixing sugar with water, make a really strong tea with that. And yes, Megaleech, cyanide tea, you do get cyanide from bitter almonds. So it could be that. Shields is dark in Queensland. Yeah, that's got to do with how close to the coast you are, I think, because Melbourne is actually sort of quite a bit inland from the east coast. So the light stays around here for half an hour to an hour longer than if you're right out on the east coast. Yeah. So yeah, I'm thinking this is worth an experiment. The other thing with me, the reason it caught my attention is it was like on half price special. So if it tastes gross, I only blew a couple dollars. Yeah, that is actually a good point, Musical Aviator. When you compound that we're further south, once you get to winter, it makes a bigger difference here. So swings and roundabouts is what we say with gains and losses and that type of thing. So isn't this flat earth of ours amazingly tricky? Yep, that's a fair point, Music Bay. If we were using sundials, we'd be 15-20 minutes later than the East Coast. How difficult must it have been to coordinate things over distance before clocks? Because time, when it was purely local, time was very subjective and meant very different things to people in different parts of the same country. Oh, Shieldsy, you're actually in an island just off Brisbane. So you're even further east. So, yeah, that's it. Yes, Megaleech, it's important to remember that the Flat Earth Society has members all over the globe. so they know what they're talking about. Sorry, there we go. You almost made me choke. Fun fact: if the sun were to suddenly disappear, we'd all die. Yes, pretty quickly, I imagine. That okay? Now that would be a fun bit of science to. I'm sure someone's done it. How long it would take all life on Earth to die if the sun vanished, like not exploded, if it was just magically not there, and so all its radiant heat disappeared. How long would it take until all life on Earth died? Not because it's like okay, heat would stop arriving at X minutes later, but there's some stored heat in the Earth, but the temperature would drop catastrophically very fast. So it wouldn't be instant, but I imagine it would be pretty quick. Like animal, birds, and insects are a bit weird. They wouldn't necessarily be dead straight away. And I wonder how long it would take the ocean to freeze all the way to the bottom, or if that would even happen. If there's something to do with the water pressure, that even with no sun, there would remain some liquid at the depths of the ocean. Another fun science thing to explore. Yes, there is the two things, Abigail. Without our gravitational center of our solar system, the planet's trajectory would change. I don't know if humans. That's another fun science question to me. Would humans be able to tell that Earth's trajectory had changed? Is that something we'd be aware of? Abigail, you reckon our answer is to tunnel into the Earth, which everyone I'm not drinking alcohol. My mouth just doesn't work. Whenever anyone talks about surviving a nuclear war and whatnot, there's a very big part of me that's like I don't even think that's a great option to die slowly. There's something to be said for dying quickly rather than in a slow and agonizing manner. So, but maybe I have a negative outlook. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe. Also, keep that feeling out. I bit my lip like hard earlier today and broke the skin, and it really fucking bothers me actually. And I keep doing that. So that's why I'm doing that weird thing. If you notice me doing a weird thing with my mouth, it's because I bit my lip a bit earlier. I bump on it, and it's really sensitive, and I can't stop poking it with my tongue, which is, I'm pretty sure, a bad thing to be doing. Yes, okay, big choice if you get an apocalypse or near apocalypse scenario. Go into survival mode or go out on your own terms. It was one of the, like people always talk about, the anniversary of its screening was the other day. I saw it mentioned on social media. A really fucking shitty nuclear war movie. It's like from the 80s, I think. I think it's called The Day After. Stupid as fuck because it ended on a hopeful note. Wait, what? I just realized, where's my microphone over there? I was moving stuff around earlier. No one complained about the sound, so that's a plus. A canker, not cancer. Thank you. No, I just literally bit my lip, so I've bruised it and it's swollen. I do get cold sores very rarely. Used to get them a lot when I was younger, which it's possibly a hormonal thing. And if, I've only had them like once in a decade. Oh, could you not hear me properly before, Abigail? Or are you taking the piss? See, I can't tell. I can't tell when someone's telling me an actual thing and when they're taking the piss. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. No. The microphone was just over there facing away from me because I was moving stuff around on the bench here earlier. And I don't know, when I started, I just forgot to move the mic back to its proper position. So, yes, so there was a really shitty anti-nuclear people that some people say, oh, it's so scary. It wasn't scary. It was dumb and unrealistic because people went back to the cities that had been hit by nukes, like, symbolically, they were going to start rebuilding. It's like, dude, the residual radiation, you're going to be dead of cancer in fucking a year. That's like a dumb idea, going back into the cities that were nuked. But there was a much better one that had the guy who was Goose in Top Gun, and he was one of the doctors in ER, Anthony, whatever his fucking name is. It was called Miracle Mile. It was way better. It was way darker, and it was way more chilling. It did not have a happy ending. They made you think you were going to get one, and you didn't. And but I lead all this up to Abigail saying, going on your own terms. There's this one guy who, when he realizes it's going to happen, it's mostly set in LA, and he goes out and buys the most extreme mind-altering drugs he can, and at one point, when it kind of looks like maybe it was all a false alarm, maybe the nukes aren't gonna fly, he's on this building top saying to these other people, I better not have destroyed my brain for no reason. If you people were wrong, I'll fucking kill you. And then sort of nukes start streaking across the sky, and he's like, woo, because he's just looking for the pretty lights and stuff because he's off his fucking trolley. Abigail, I get what you're saying about residual radiation fading relatively quickly. I don't remember how much elapsed time there was meant to have been between the detonation of the nuke and these people going back to the city. But seriously, when would you go back to a ground zero site? Even a year later, you think, I don't know. And again, I have to admit a fair degree of ignorance, and I'm just guessing here, and the basis for my guess could be completely wrong. But surely it would be drastically life-shortening. So, but yeah, it's this movie the day after bugged the shit out of me because they decided they were going to have a happy ending, like, a hopeful ending. We will rebuild. It's like, yeah, not fucking likely. In an actual nuclear exchange, the bare survivors would live for a couple of years like mole people before dying. Be a very gross, slow way to go out. Whereas getting vaporized, you wouldn't even know it had happened. It'd just be like, the what now? And just someone switching out the lights. So in terms of ways to go out, dramatic and not at all drawn out. So Megaleech, mole lives matter. That is actually a good point. And I wish the mole people well in their miserable fucking existence. But, you know, that was the thing we were worried about from the 60s to the 80s, I think. It was not uncommon for people to be fairly convinced we were going to die in a nuclear conflagration. Now we can just look at, we're going to have a drawn-out fucking climate catastrophe. So we were saying radioactive fallout, the worst offenders burn out really quickly, and the ones that last thousands of years don't emit a lot of radiation because it takes thousands of years. I mean, yeah, you know, people went back to living in Hiroshima and Nagasaki pretty quickly. Hey, Chris. Yeah, you can still see the yard a bit. There's going to be a little bit of light for a while yet. So I think I looked up, the longest day is in about a month from now. So it'll be that light about an hour into the stream in a month. Not that I know how many streams I'm going to be doing a month. Most of our restrictions, harsh restrictions, are lifted in Melbourne now. And we're in our COVID normal phase. If we don't get any more outbreaks, we can do a whole bunch of stuff, but there are certain limitations on numbers and whatnot. I am fast losing my excuses for not wanting to socialize with other humans. You know, a glorious 6 months for not having to have an excuse for not wanting to socialize with someone. Being happier, staying at home, watching TV or playing video games or working on some of my video stuff or doing these live streams. A bit harder to just palm people off now. I mean, I basically still intend to do that. But it's just a little more difficult. And I remember having jokes with various people of, well, if you don't have any friends, now's the time to die because no one's allowed to go to your funeral anyway. So years later, when they say no one went to your funeral, you go, oh, but that was during COVID. No one was allowed to go to the funeral. Now 150 people are allowed to go to your funeral. So that plan's ruined now. Chris, be nice to see you all when you're around the house. Enjoy the socialization. Yeah, back in lockdown in your part of the world. Dude, you are just US and Europe. The Northern Hemisphere is going to have a bad fucking winter, from what I can see. It is not looking good at all. But, I mean, I might revert to, I haven't made any sort of decision yet, but with the ability to do more things, I might do less of the live streams and try and do a couple of pre-recorded videos where we get back into the regular angry stuff, try and build that back up. For whatever it's worth. Nothing really, but you know, it's fun. So I've got to do it if it's fun. Chris, you're a strapping lad. not scared so much for you because the odds are overwhelmingly likely that you'll be fine. If you have COVID, there's a strong chance you'll get pretty sick, but you'll most likely fully recover. I worry about you at a societal level because I worry about the fucking damage at a societal level that feels like it's coming in the next couple months. Very, very bad. So, yeah, see, exactly, Abigail. End of lockdown. Well, not so much that you're expected to go outside. It's just it's slightly less convenient to have an excuse about why you don't want to go outside. So we'll see. Oh, okay. Sorry, Chris. I was being really presumptuous. You have chronic bronchitis. Okay. I understand your fear. And I hope you don't have it as well. I hope you and your mum don't have it. And I understand your concerns and fears, and they're absolutely valid. It just sucks. The whole thing sucks. Everything about it sucks. That's yeah, okay. That's my bold stance taken without fear or favor here on Angry Channel. COVID sucks. There, I don't care who I've offended with that. I don't care who wasn't ready to hear it, but it's the official position of the Angry Aussie channel that COVID sucks. So take that. That'll probably scare it into submission now that it knows that it's got on the wrong side of me. Maybe there will be less nonsense from COVID now, because that's what it is. It's nonsense. It's behaving badly. It's not something I find acceptable, and I am taking a bold stand and declaring COVID to sucksores. Because the good news is your mum's at a healthcare facility. Haven't had masks on, so you should be okay. Okay, I hope so. Hey, Big Pat, how you doing? So yeah, we just soldier on. Oh god, it was the weird one, Sweden in Europe. People say, "Oh, see, Sweden didn't look down and they were fine." And go, well, in Sweden's first wave, they had between 3 and 10 times the deaths of their neighbors, and their economy did no better than their neighbors. So this idea that there's a black and white choice between lockdown and economy is patently false. And now Sweden is in the position of acknowledging everything's out of control. Their hospitals are already at capacity, and they are only at the start of what's probably going to be an absolutely devastating second wave. So all this bullshit about their approach worked is about to come crashing down. Yep. Remember when everyone started talking about herd immunity, like that was a viable option, even though that would result... It's actually impossible to know how it would result, because you didn't know when the hospital services were going to get overwhelmed and collapsed. But if the hospital services never got overwhelmed and collapsed, you could probably keep fatality rates to 1%, which, like in the US is 3 million people. But what we've seen is you can't keep the hospitals from collapsing. They get overwhelmed and collapse. We've seen this a couple of times, and we're about to see it again. And then the fatality rate ratchets up really fucking fast, getting north of 10% before you know what's what. and them's some pretty fucking catastrophic numbers in terms of societal collapse. Just throwing it out there. Big Pat, I am fine today, my friend. I am a little tired. So we'll see how long I last here. And yes, as the herd immunity concept simply cannot work with this pandemic. Hellion, hello to you, Kirsten, on this fine. So it's not a fine Sunday evening. It's it's quiet now. It is actually quiet now, but storms, and I think they were warning more storms later. What's the bureau thingy saying? Rain increasing, storm likely. Not a lot of rain though. Yeah, I guess storm warnings all night. That should be fun. Storm warnings all goddamn night. Okay. I don't want to get woken up by thunder. That's scary. Okay, there was only one big thunderclap in my neighborhood tonight. Yeah, you do that thing and like lightning flash, and then you count, and I think it's for every 3 seconds until the thunderclap. That's like the center of the storm's a mile away from you. So I was counting after the lightning flash to see if it happened, and I'd got up to 6, and I thought there wasn't going to be a thunderclap. And then there was one of those really loud ones, just a really sharp boom, and made me squeak a little bit, I have to admit. And then that boom of thunder rolled on for a good 30 seconds. So at that point, the center of the storm was about 2 miles away from me. Oh no, Kirsten recovering from a wretched hangover. Went to a whiskey festival and drank many whiskeys. I'm just a little tired. Like Friday night, had a few drinkies. Didn't have a hangover as such, but I did have tiredness. Like, I don't know, when did I go to sleep? 3 a.m.? And to spare Mrs. Angry, I slept on the lounge. So my snoring, because when I have been drinking, apparently my snoring is really bad. So I slept on the lounge. But I know she usually wakes up at about 6:30, and I happened to wake up at 6:30. It was light. I thought, oh, Mrs. Angry is probably going to be awake, so I'll go into the bed now. And she was awake. And I went to bed, and then I woke up at 9, and I thought, that wasn't bad, and like went to the loo and had a drink of water. I think I'm just going to lie down again, and then it was 11:30. So I sort of lost half a Saturday, but that's okay. So for my actual date night was good, thank you very much. Yes, that's a little trivia from my life. On last night, I had my first actual night out with Mrs. Angry for about 6 months, possibly since April, so that would be even longer, 7 months. I don't remember. Time sort of doesn't mean anything anymore. I think it was 6 months. Went to a nice place, had nice food, had someone else make cocktails for me for the first time in 6 months, so that was fun. Big Pat, I can't look at Facebook now because I'm doing this, buddy. And normally we'd only get to do it every 2 weeks, but because of slightly weird circumstances, we can do it next week too. And the place we went last night was good. The place we're going next week is better. Both the food and the cocktails is better. The food was good last night. Cocktails weren't bad, but I'd only rate them like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Like, I didn't dislike them, but yeah, I don't know. Is this where I try not to be snobby, but it's like, those weren't for serious cocktail drinkers, were they? Those were really sweet. Particularly the picture I couldn't resist posting online because I got the one that had a fairy floss liqueur in it, and it had pop rocks and cake decorations rimming the glass. It was definitely, and it was pink as well, which was special. So it was kind of like for a girl's 18th birthday, really.
But it didn't taste like alcohol at all, but it had a decent whack of alcohol in it. It had a gin base, and I think it had a fair bit of gin in it, actually. But in terms of taste, these cocktails weren't very challenging. They were very sweet. And I like sweet cocktails. It's just I like variety. And the place we're going next week has both better food and better cocktails. So I'm looking forward to that. So if you're treading Victorians crossing the border, dude, there's been no cases in 3 weeks. I get you psychologically worrying about it, but there's no cases. There's nothing to worry about. The concern at the moment is quarantine, and because there's always people coming back from overseas who will have coronavirus, and we've got to hope that we're managing the quarantine facilities better. Oh God, I saw Gladys doing a press conference today, and I forget what she said, but she said something really dumb and shitty, and it was completely unnecessary, and it was really obnoxious, and I can't remember what it was now. Chris, your town's like a ghost town, and with fog, it's like Silent Hill. I'm not saying you should do this, but maybe get a Silent Hill cosplay and go, that guy with the pyramid head, and go walking through the streets in the early hours in fog, dragging a giant sword behind you, and seeing if you can give anyone nightmares. That'd just be a fun pastime, I think. Big worried about the day Americans are allowed to travel across borders. I think there is going to be really strict controls on overseas visitors up until there is widespread effective vaccine usage. And for me personally, way past the end of next year. Everyone's saying, the vaccine's been ready now. We're not even going to get close to a decent distribution of vaccines in a best case scenario till the second half of next year. So any international, not any, we're potentially on the very small number of countries who are managing it, which is like us, New Zealand, Vietnam, who else? South Korea. I knew there was another one. Thank you. Then that's it. That's like the only countries in the world. Yeah, I just think China's lying half the time. With tensions with China at the moment, I'm not sure you want a lot of travel for different reasons anyway. But there's not going to be much travel that doesn't involve a 2-week quarantine before the end of next year. And good evening, Shannon. Grasshopper. Megaleech, parts of Oceania are doing well. Parts less so. I don't think we'll be getting much travel to and from Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines. The successes are very localized. Shannon's referring to when I put the description of tonight's video being the anniversary of the JFK assassination. So should we talk conspiracy theories or bad taste jokes? Because they're my first two impulses with JFK. Musical Avity, you might be right about Samoa and Fiji as well. Oh, Safra, I'm glad you're asking Musical Aviator that question. I thought you were asking me. Would your driveway need trench works if you want fiber to the premises, not fiber to the node? Because I was about to say, I don't fucking know. But you're asking Musical Aviator, who potentially knows. Shieldsy, the world is not going to get 0 new cases ever. Because what it's going to be is we're going to get widespread vaccination and treatment. And this particular novel coronavirus is going to be part of the annual flu season. It's not going away. It's just we'll have effective vaccination and treatment. And yes, we'll go back to, hey, you know what? Every year, a bunch of people die from influenza. And in the future, some of them will be from this particular novel coronavirus. But yes, the concept of there being no cases, that's a thing that will literally never happen. But it would be manageable in something like 2 years. It'll just be part of the annual flu things. Okay, Grasshopper has one. Bad taste joke. Made one towards your wife earlier and she punched you. She's in the kitchen washing up. She used to make her lunch for the week. I was helping dry and putting away. She made a comment, I'm not washing up tomorrow. I have a 12-hour shift. So I replied, but you have to. This is the first time I've seen you, woman, since we've been together. Yep. And you knew you were going to get punched when you said that. So that's fair. Ninja hand. Yeah. Okay. So, yes, that's just a fun domestic joke. Yeah, there's a little bit of blue there. It's to the naked eye. It's almost dark out there. I think that house is painted white, and that's where you can see it as a little bit of blue. Yes, Shieldsy, you'll be jealous. That invisible hand was getting ice cream to go in a huge bowl of strawberries. So it's a big bowl of strawberries and ice cream. So you'll be jelly. I mean, I'd be jelly too because I'm not getting any of it. But, you know. Cest Levi. Actually, I do have a dessert, which I might grab, as much as I think it's gross. Oh, Big Pat. I did see you post that about that sad news on Facebook earlier, actually. Yes. So if you had 78-kilometer winds, yeah, that's a little bit widespread, I think. It's not so much here at the moment. Could be overnight. Because the Bureau is just saying it could be bloody storms on. So, my little dessert. Oh! These things were on special in the supermarket when I went there the other day. Greek yogurt with a fun thing to chip in it. This is lemon meringue Tang. So lemon yogurt with treats to put in it. Pie crust, white chocolate, and meringue pieces. So that's a bit decadent. To do that number one gross thing of eating on camera. Mix it up a bit. Separate it a little bit. All right. And do the magical thing of tipping all the fun stuff into the yogurt. And mix the fun stuff into... Yes, Shannon, Japanese are the bomb. Also, apparently a good company, like an ethical company. Always careful about applauding anything a company does. But I've heard Chobani are a good ethical company. Yes, Shieldsy, grown-up yogos, definitely. Yes. So I'm being a human eating smoothie because I just felt jealous that I wasn't getting any of the strawberries and ice cream. So, but I thought, oh no, I actually have a treat. What do you want, Nimsy? You shit. Well, she's pissing on the curtains in my bedroom yesterday. All right, she's doing weird. I hear this noise. That sounds like she's just pissing, but she wouldn't do that. And look, and that's what she was doing. She was just standing there, pissing on the curtains in my bedroom. Fucking shit. Izzy Kirsten, you can see Grasshopper comments in YouTube, but I can't. and he can't see my comment, and we've never been able to work out why. Because the fact that everyone else can see him there means I didn't block him or anything. It's a really weird YouTube glitch. Don't know what causes it. Yes, no English, I'm bagging at mukbang. I didn't show you when I was tipping it in, but it'd flare out in that bloody light anyway, so stupid webcam. Do you think the South Korean concept of mukbang is hilarious? Yeah, see, Safa, if Grasshopper had blocked me on YouTube, he couldn't go on my channel. He couldn't see my channel. And if I had blocked Grasshopper, he couldn't go on my channel. But he can go on my channel, but we can't see each other's comments on YouTube, which is weird AF. So just a situation that we have. Safa, there's no such thing as YouTube support. There's just no such thing. Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent, Kirsten. Australia holds a new Guinness World Record for the most people tasting gin at the same time. That is excellent. Animals. I did a whole video on Pete Evans' Nazi post, The Return of Wangafat Wednesday. Pete Evans is absolute filth. Yeah, Shioji, I had to repost that video when it came up in my Facebook memories. At the time I was shooting the video, I didn't even know it was happening. For those who missed it, about, I don't know, 9 or 10 years ago, Corey, Mr. Safety, visited Australia with his mum, and we were in Adelaide, seeing some people there. And yes, animals, as the Megalith says, I could watch party it. I could show you it now. Anyway, we were at a marina because there were these friends who had a boat, and we were going to a place for lunch. And so I was doing a to camera thing with my camera on a monopod, talking away. And Corey was playing up behind me, but because it was such bright light, I couldn't really see the viewfinder that well. I didn't realize he was doing silly dances behind me. I'm just talking, and he's doing silly dances behind me. I didn't see it till I got to editing the video. And his mum like clips him over the head. So, and the funny thing is, the camera picked up the sound of her smacking him in the back of the head. They're way off in the distance, and you get this twack as she like smacks him over the back of the head for doing his silly video bomb dance. One of my favorite videos ever. Abigail, it was my friend Corey Williams, Mr. Safety, S&P Films, Mean Kitty, famous guy. Pete Evans went to the absolute worst place on my shit list, not just for being a conspiracy theorist, not just for being a grifter, not just for being like a COVID denier and piece of shit, and not just for being a Nazi, because he is actively, directly, and repeatedly advocating for Nazi ideology. It's when he's so disconnected from reality, he didn't realize actively posting Nazi propaganda would actually hurt his career. That's how fucked in the head he is. He didn't realize there would be any blowback from posting Nazi propaganda. And that's how deeply he is into the Nazi shit. And then he fucking lies. He fucking lies and says, I didn't do that on purpose. When he clearly did it on purpose, because there were comments he made made it clear he knew he was doing it on purpose. So, yeah, fuck that guy. That is a useful term, Aspie. Thank you. Tabernac is a fucker who's full of shit in Quebecois. Quebecois has some really good swearing and slang. I have 2 T-shirts my friend Karine gave me that are Quebecois swearing that even French speakers outside of Quebec don't seem to understand, which is funny. Oh, Kirsten Friendly Geordies did some other unfriendly stuff. Got a small TikTok creator, hate crime. That's inspiring. He's always had a tendency to be pretty brutal towards people who go, and it's usually someone who's had a go at him. But the best description for why this sort of thing goes wrong that I've ever heard, and I forget who coined it, but Hank Green from the Vlog Brothers was referencing it, and in the video he said who it was who invented the term, and I forget that, but I remember Hank Green talked about it, and it was the giant robot suit, and it's basically it's a metaphor for when we're online, everyone is in a. It's not you. It's like you're walking around in a giant robot suit, but no one is conscious of the size of their own giant robot suit. They're only conscious of the size of other people's giant robot suits. So if you're a well-known person, if you have a big following online, whenever anyone looks at you, they see your absolutely gigantic robot suit. But when you're the person, you don't feel like you're in a giant robot suit. You just feel like you. So when someone has a go at you, even if they do it really viciously, from their perspective, you're this giant robot suit and they just threw a pebble which bounced off the boot of your giant robot suit, obviously doing you no harm whatsoever. But when you're on the receiving end of it, you don't feel any benefit of your giant robot suit. It's just this person attacking you. And so you feel it completely differently to how they think it would feel. And because you're in a giant robot suit, if you do anything back at them at all, even the mildest thing, you're effectively smashing them with your giant robot suit, even if you didn't mean to. Now, often when someone who has a big following goes after someone small, they absolutely mean to cause harassment and abuse to this person, and they absolutely mean to make that person's life a misery. But there are times when they don't mean it, where all they've got is like, this person was absolutely horrible to them, and they just go, yeah, well, fuck you. And that's all they do. But because they have a giant robot suit, the force of all their fans then going after that person, so the giant robot suit has just dealt this crushing blow to this little person with no defense. So I won't presume to know where on the spectrum Friendly Geordie's response to this TikToker was. But the simple fact is he has a large and incredibly belligerent fan base, and he should know that the slightest thing he does will result in a massive retaliation and attack on the person he mentions. And I've seen him multiple times go after people really aggressively, not mildly. And again, when I've seen it, it's people who had to go at him first, but there's still the whole giant robot suit thing. Hello, Raiders and Gecko. How you all doing? Abigail, I also want a literal robot suit, and I will use it to be very cruel and crush people. That's why I laugh when like people hated the movie Pacific Rim. Dumb, just the giant robot suits. They made no sense. Okay, it's a movie about giant robots fighting monsters. Okay, beginning, middle, end. That's what it is. They promised us giant robots fighting giant monsters, and they gave us giant robots fighting giant monsters. Better than anyone's ever given us. Giant robots fighting giant monsters. So, you know, picking faults in the movie seems really fucking pointless to me because, you know, it was advertised as giant robots fighting giant monsters. Did they give us giant robots fighting giant monsters? Yes, they did. What was written on the box was what they delivered. Giant robots fighting giant monsters. So kudos to them. And the second one is the second one's pretty ordinary compared to the first one, but still, you know, there were still giant robots fighting giant monsters. Yes, I mean, I'll agree. It's a total trash movie, but it's fucking amazing trash. Absolutely. Shield, do you want a big robot to make sure Trump goes away forever? That's fair. So if I'm not sure what you're trying to say about the Liberal Party's reference. The Liberal Party have repeatedly destroyed individual citizens' lives in the name of their political pursuits. They're fucking shitheads. Abigail, that's why you liked Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Yeah, I mean, I made a point of watching Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I wouldn't put it in the same area as Pacific Rim. It was funny and silly as hell. And it was like literally what they said, an absolute, obviously, if you call a movie Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, it's going to be silly as hell. And I think they got the tone kind of right for it. It's kind of like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Again, not a great film, but what they promised was a mashup of Pride and Prejudice and a zombie apocalypse film. Obviously, very silly comedy, and they largely delivered on it. I mean, it's pretty forgettable, but, you know, it was Pride and Prejudice and zombies. It's, you know, that's what they said it was, and that's what it was. Safa, when am I going to the movies next? When there's a fucking vaccine? Actually, probably sooner than that. Like if we get to months and months with no new cases, I'll go, okay, it's clearly safe to go to the movies. But I am not rushing back to the movies. Being in a completely closed space with recirculated air for several hours, not my idea of a fun time. Raiders, Cy Vance and Tish James make sure Trump is. I don't know who those people are. Okay. Gecko, I also have not seen Snakes on a Plane. I actually think I've got it on disc because it was like on sale for $5 one time. And I just went, okay, well, I do have to watch this eventually. Snakes on a Plane. The story for that goes, and this, again, take this with a grain of salt because I have no evidence for it. It was like a Hollywood screenwriter put it on the blog post. They said, look, I occasionally get called in to punch up scripts, and there was this one, and so we need to help with this. The provisional title is Snakes on a Plane, but that's a clearly stupid name, and it's just a placeholder. We'll change it. And yeah, apparently they were going to give it this really bland name, like Pacific Flight 213 or something. And then they cast Samuel L. Jackson in it. And it went through, like, because it was such a weird, silly movie, it went through a lot of production hell. It took ages to come out. But when this guy wrote this thing saying they better not change the name, it better stay Snakes on a Plane, because I just want to see Samuel L. Jackson say, I want these motherfucking snakes off my motherfucking plane. They actually did a reshoot and got Samuel Jackson to say that. And they were going to change the movie name to something really bland. And the story goes, Sam Jackson really put his foot down and goes, no, the only reason I did this film is it was called Snakes on a Plane. It has to remain Snakes on a Plane. Yes, I've seen those other books as well, Kirsten. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies was originally a novel, and there's a whole series of the Austen books. The only other one I remember is Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters, but I know there are a couple of them. Timothy Hatton, when is it Angry Aussie Day? Every day is Angry Aussie Day. Safa, like I said, take it with a grain of salt, because this is like unverified Hollywood gossip. But yeah, the rumor was that Snakes on a Plane was just a placeholder name, but then word got around on the internet of this is going to be the greatest terrible movie ever, and Samuel Jackson made them keep the name Snakes on a Plane. Oh, Raiders. Those people were Virginia's and New York's attorneys general. Yes. Yes, because they're not generals, they're attorneys. It's one of those. And it's like in Commonwealth countries, we have each Commonwealth country has Queen's representative, the vice-regal appointee, the governor general. And if you get more than one governor general, like from different countries, they are governors general, not governor generals. Because they are not generals, they are governors. Gecko found a huge pile of DVDs by a dumpster a couple of weeks ago. Dead technology, man. Dead technology. But maybe something interesting. Still works. Man, I hate fucking digital on. Well, I don't hate digital on demand, but I hate the idea of being told that's the only option, because they can take it away from us. Gecko, if they had to pay the full price for the Redbox rentals, the late fees would be about $1,000. There you go, Abigail. You were binge watching The West Wing. That's where you go. I know it from high school. So, yes, I just had an English teacher in high school who drilled that sort of thing in, which has made me into somewhat of a grammar pedant. So, I don't remember all the names for things, talk about the pluperfect first person meta tense, and I don't remember those. But I know just by it's almost like instinct now. It's just through repetition at school. I know what's right and what's wrong. I know correct grammar from incorrect grammar. I can't always say it's because of this reason, but I can say with like probably 99% accuracy what's correct grammar and what's incorrect grammar. You binge watched an anime that time I got reincarnated as slime. That's pretty full on. Yep, but no one wants video. I don't want video rental shops. I don't think that's any different. Video rental shops died because they are far less convenient than streaming services. Video rental shops deserve to die. They offer virtually no benefit over streaming services, and they're far less convenient. No, I'm talking about physical media. Like if I want to keep something, I don't want to buy a digital thing or have a license for a digital thing. I have a leaning towards physical media. Abigail can't walk away from incorrect grammar or spelling when you see it, much like a fez. That's fair. Aspie watched an episode of Suits, decided Meghan Markle's a terrible actress. I've never watched Suits. Some people really like it. Yeah, Safra, I did have a Video Easy account back in the day. Probably many different ones when I lived in different suburbs. Oh gosh, that's a weird combination, Abigail. A friend who was an English literature major but had atrocious spelling. That is a weird combination. Gecko, you also worked at Blockbuster back in 2000. Nice. Well, Quentin Tarantino says that's where he learned filmmaking. He's working in a video store and just had movies running all day. And instead of running the latest hit, he was watching all the classics over and over and over. And just by paying really close attention, learning directorial skill and writing and whatnot. That's interesting. I'm still thirsty. It's only. No, I'm trying to think. Will I have another lemonade drink that will make me want to pee? I don't know. I made a clarified drink a little bit earlier, and it's probably really yummy because it's rum and fruit juice. I should taste it. I should taste it because it's rum and fruit. I'll have a little bit of that, and then I might make another lemonade fruit juice. Right. Time to get a glass and some ice. Ugh. One less rocks glass now because I broke that one on Friday night. And it's not because I was drunk, it's because the fucking baguette was in the way. It wasn't my fault, it was the baguette's fault. And I stick to that story, which makes me sound even more drunk. But anyway. So. This in the fridge. Just finishing the filtering. Because I was doing the close-ups for the cocktail videos I shot on Friday night's stream. So I had to make the cocktails again. And so just for fun, I clarified them. And look at that. It's a really nice, well-hydrated urine sample. So many of them go yellow. That's enough. I don't want a lot of it. Ooh. Something kind of satisfying about that noise of ice cracking as its temperature changes because you've put it in a drink. So I've got to be careful with my this is just a normal ice cube, as you can see, not one of my magic clear ice cubes. I've got to temper the ice, which will like basically let it reach this room temperature, or well, obviously ice isn't going to reach room temperature, but let it warm up a bit because it ruins the whole clear thing if it cracks. So it's called tempering the ice. Because, Abigail, you've met jazz musicians who call people who read music readers condescendingly. Lol. Okay. I was like, sorry, Simpsons reference incoming. The old episode where Lisa goes out to a jazz club and she's really getting into it. And this guy at the next table says, "This is terrible." And Lisa says, "No, you have to listen to the notes she's not playing." And the guy says, "I could do that at home," which I thought was a really funny response to that. Yes, Gecko, there you got to let the ice go a little higher, like 32 Fahrenheit instead of 23. Stop it from cracking. But this was just normal ice, not special clear ice, so it doesn't matter if it cracks. Oh, yeah. That's interesting and weird. Milk clarification does weird things to drinks. Oh no. Ugh. Abigail, your guitar has literal blood on it. And your clarinet's nice and shiny. Yeah. Yeah, guitarists' fingers tend to be calloused and scarred from the steel strings. Don't even know how to describe this, actually. It's very weird. In a good way. I like weird. That's why I get on so well with everyone in the stream. I like weird. Sorry, Alex. It's a bit surreal. You're having the whole conversation with Grasshopper, and I can't see what he's saying. It's really weird. Oh, the blood was actually from a blood nose. Good Lord. Oh, there's an interesting one. Clarinet players. According to Sajuk, clarinet players tend to have callous thumbs where the instrument rests on the right hand. Yeah, I suppose there's all sorts of things that cause various things like that. You do something repetitively. It's kind of how like Louis Armstrong and a lot of trumpeters do that thing where they're blowing so hard. I think it's bad technique actually, but they really elasticize the skin in their cheeks, and so their cheeks blow out like bullfrogs. And that's just from years of blowing real hard and slowly stretching the cheeks till it gets to the point that they blow right out in a really quite disturbing way. Ashoka, Elon Musk is going to be meeting Joe Biden soon. That sounds weirdly like a threat. I don't know why. I don't know why it makes me feel that, but just that really simple, innocent sentence sounds weirdly like a threat to me. That's probably just because I'm weird. There we go. You have a numb pad on the side of your thumb from holding a clarinet. There you go. Okay. So that sounds very much along the lines of what Sajuk. Attempt to pronounce this would be very bad. Sajuk Thanatoshka. Sajuk Thanatoshka? I bet that's really badly wrong. Gecko, yes. Did I say Louis Armstrong? He was a fucking singer, wasn't he? Gecko, you're right. Dizzy Gillespie. But also, I think a lot of trumpet players have this thing. But I have been told that that's technically bad technique. Trump clearly doesn't give a shit about anything the way he's carrying on. Oh, because Louis Armstrong did play trumpet. I'm trying to think who. I think it was Louis Armstrong who I saw on the Muppets. Okay, I'm going to look. One of them was on the Muppets. Louis Armstrong Muppets. Images. Looks like he did go on the Muppet Show. But the question is Gillespie go? Because I don't even know when these people fucking lived and died. That's how bad I am. Let's have a look. Dizzy Gillespie Muppet Show. Yes, okay. The moment I was remembering was Dizzy Gillespie. Thank you, Gecko, for pointing me in the right way. They were both on the Muppet Show, I think, but the moment in the Muppet Show I was thinking of was Dizzy Gillespie. It'll end the flute. We had the recorder, not the flute. So sorry, pronunciation. Sir Duke Thanatoskar. Oh, so I wasn't a million miles away, maybe. Yeah. Abigail, you're still feeling the loss of Bleeding Gums Murphy? Yeah, that's a very sad loss. Got a memorial to actually got Bleeding Gums Murphy in my virtual Simpsons, as well as memorials to Bleeding Gums Murphy, which is a bit weird, but anyway. All right, I'm going to follow Leach's suggestion. Search Trumpet Cheeks. Oh, they're almost all Dizzy Gillespie. Not quite all, but Dizzy Gillespie features incredibly prominently in the image search results for Trumpet Cheeks. Oh, sorry, it was the recorder. For some reason in Australian schools, everyone had recorder, probably because they were really cheap, and it was a way to attempt to teach you music theory. And I think there is some value in teaching kids music theory, because you can learn a bit from that and applicable to other things. That's such a weird taste. Anyway, it's also it's quite alcoholic. All right. I think I need more lemonade though. Helps keep me lubricated for talking, you know? Right, I'm going to put this back in the fridge. Be a little drink for later in the week. Oh, sorry. I'm sharing your shock, Abigail, with that comment. Grasshopper's wife plays violin and guitar, and yet she married a drummer. Good Lord. Gecko, check out bass recorder player reacts to tape 5 for 4. I probably won't remember that. Oh, sorry. I'm tired. Oh. Maybe I won't have a drink. Maybe I'm actually just going to end this early. What's the time now? 9:12. I might end at 9:30. Just go and lie down because I'm an old man. As you can tell, now I haven't been coloring my hair during the COVID times. I'm old and tired. I need my sleeps. Yes, thank you, Gecko. Send me a Twitter notification. Oh, yeah, Shoka, the hot cross buns on the recorder. Is that the one that goes, hot cross buns, too many, hot cross buns. God, I remember that. Ugh. I did see a meme that I thought was hilarious because it was so true. It was an image of a thing you could buy in a shop that was a recorder with the music for the songs from Frozen, and they just captioned it saying, "Do you know someone with kids? Do you hate that person? Buy this." It's kind of funny. I do remember in the past when, because I had offspring and they grew up, and I did occasionally have people both on YouTube and just at work and stuff say, "Oh, what should I buy?" And it wasn't their own kid; it was like a friend or a sibling's, 4-year-old and 5-year-old, and they say, "I have no idea what to get them. You had kids. What did they like? What should I get them?" And I just say, "Well, do you like the person or do you hate the person?" And Because if you hate the person and want the kid to be happy, you buy them something that makes noise, an approximation of a musical instrument, because the kid will love it and make terrible noise with it, and the parents will hate it. But if you like the people and don't want them to hate you, then you get like a soft toy or something. But yeah, if you want to really piss them off, you get something that makes noise, because kids fucking love shit that makes noise, and parents do not. Parents do not love things that make noise. So if I'm going to avoid being sleepy angry for work tomorrow, because I am going to go Raiders. I don't think I've ever used hair coloring as cheap as Rudy Giuliani's that melted under the lights, which will be an image that won't go out of my head in a hurry. I mean, like, I only use permanent hair dye colors. Which he must have used one of those comb through ones, the ones that they tell you on ads. No one can tell. But they melt under light. They melt in the heat. It's a terrible idea. So after the sun safe stuff with hats, etc., didn't start till after I left school. So that's how old I am. There's no sun safe when I was at school. Okay. When you see a recorder at a secondhand stall, you walk around, you buy it and walk around playing it, pissing off as many people as you can. Fingering difference between it and clarinet's close, but not so you're just a little bit off when you play it. Oh, nice, Kirsten. You have a wooden recorder, which has a really lovely sound. I mean, yeah, it's not like you can't make good sounds with a recorder. It's just that school kids rarely do. Gecko, there was no sun safe shit when I was a kid. These days, correctly, particularly in primary school, younger kids who are more susceptible to getting long-term damage if they go in the sun, they have to wear the big wide brim hats, which are a really good idea. And no one had that stuff when I was a kid. We were just running around getting cancer. That's why I have so many freckles. Which have faded a bit as I've gotten older, actually, and stayed out of the sun. But as a lad, as a teenager, I was very spotty, really, really, really noticeably freckled. Not the worst. I think there was one girl at school who was a fucking redhead, so of course her freckles were worse from the Dubbo sun. But yes, the sun smart things they do now are a very good idea. Abigail, you carry the parasol or umbrella in summer. I don't often do the umbrella thing. I do usually do a hat if I'm out in the sun. Definitely, I curse myself if I ever forget to put sunscreen on. I usually don't forget, but every now and then I do, because I underestimate how long I'm in the sun, and I fucking pay for it. Like, I start to burn inside of 20 minutes. I'm very pale. Because I mostly stay out of the sun. So if I stray into the sun, it's usually has a very bad effect. So there's that. I don't like it, not one bit. Yes, Aspie, I know a toque is a hat. Where did I see that joke recently? Oh, a Canadian cocktail channel, when he's making cocktails, saying he's going to be super Canadian, so he's wearing a toque. Robot Man Greg, good evening to you, sir. Yep, Kirsten, sunscreen and hats is definitely the go, and just staying out of the fucking sun. Like, I still remember when I lived in Sydney, and someone would sometimes go to the pubs in the eastern suburbs on the beaches, in the eastern suburbs of Sydney. Bondi Beach is the most famous, but there's a whole series of beaches around the eastern suburbs. I think it was Kuji that I used to go. I'm trying to remember. A long time ago. Actually, I'm going to look at a map. But there were, Bondi was actually the worst one to go to. Where's maps? Show me Bondi. Bondi Beach, New South Wales. Okay. No. We go out. So Bondi, Tamarama was a cute small beach. And Bronte was like a medium-sized. It was Kuji that I used to go to. The Kuji Bay Hotel. Yeah. Kuji was a biggish beach. Clovelly was a little one, but Kuji was a biggest beach. Not as big as Bondi, but the second biggest. So the Kuji Beach Hotel actually it's probably not as big as Maroubra, but that was way further around. I didn't go to Maroubra, but would go the Kuji Bay Hotel, which is right on Kuji Beach, in summer, and you could tell from the crowd because it's very popular with the Brit backpackers, and you could tell just by looking in the crowd who was Australian and who was a Brit, because the Australians would be crowding under the awnings in the middle of the day in summer. The Australians would be crowding under the awnings and under umbrellas, keeping the fuck out of the sun. And the Brits would be out there in this midday cancer-causing sun, stretched out with their shirts off, going, yeah, I'm getting some sun. And we would just be looking at them going, you fucking morons. I don't care if you've got SPF 50 on. That shit will fuck you up real quick. And yeah, these dumb Brits would go home with really painful sunburn and probably go home with cancer. Might take a few years to pop up, but it would be there. Raised in the sort of shit at the Kuji Bay pub. I have no idea. Far too long ago. It was like fucking 30 years ago. 30 years ago. I'll say it again. 30 years ago. Because I am old. That's when I used to go to the Kuji Bay Hotel. I don't remember. And I'm not sure if you're referring to food or drink there. If it was drink, I didn't drink alcohol at that point, so I would have just been having lemon squash or lemon lime and bitters or something. Food-wise, maybe they had food. There was a phase in Sydney, and this was about 30 years ago, where every motherfucker was serving char-grilled baby octopus, which at the time I thought, this must be... because this was a fad that just came out of nowhere, and suddenly everyone was serving char-grilled baby octopus. And I couldn't help thinking, this must be really fucking up the life cycle of the octopi. I don't know. It was if it was done well, it was actually super yummy. I confess to having ordered it from fish and chip shops many a time, but it was ubiquitous for there was this period of a couple of years where just everyone sorry you guys she doesn't have to go to bed. Everyone sold char-grilled baby octopus, which didn't seem sustainable to me. Safa, lemon, lime, and the bitters in a lemon, lime, and bitters is usually around 40% alcohol, but because you only put like drops of the bitters in because it's a very strong flavor, it doesn't register enough alcohol content to be qualified as an alcoholic beverage. So it's like, in a schooner, which is... just think, how many mils is actually in a schooner? Schooner mils. Yeah, okay. 425 mils. So it's actually like probably less than 4 mils of a lemon, lime, and bitters schooner is bitters. And So you're getting into it's less than 0.01% alcohol, so it doesn't count as an alcoholic beverage. Although technically, there's alcohol in it. Oh, nice, Chris. Girlfriend's cutting off your hair. Good luck. Oh, good. Okay, that's a nice random one, Gecko. They caught the guy that punched Rick Moranis. Good. Right, he's saying health department found literal human feces in free gelato at the Kuji Bay Hotel. Lol. Sorry, that's funny. That is funny. Safi, you're being extra cautious. But there's nothing wrong with being extra cautious. You've got to be 0.0 when you're driving. Yeah, Kirsten, I know what you're saying, that you can actually measure it, the amount of alcohol that bitters adds to a lemon, lime, and bitters, but there's a legal definition of alcohol beverage, and lemon, lime, bitters doesn't reach the threshold. Safa, now you're asking the big questions. Is beer batter chips alcoholic? I kind of feel like the alcohol would burn off in the frying process, but I couldn't verify for you if that's measurable. Yeah, see, Rick, that's the big thing. Why would anyone punch Rick Moranis? Everyone was shocked when Rick Moranis got randomly punched by a person who's obviously a piece of shit. Or maybe has some mental health problems. Who knows? Because I hadn't heard they'd found them. Oh God. Okay. Anyway, I'm old. I'm old and tired. I'm gonna go to bed. So this is. I'm cutting this short. It's only an hour and a half instead of would usually be 2 hours. So I'm going to go to bed. So thanks for the Sunday night hangs. We didn't get a storm. I thought we were going to get a storm, and we didn't. I might get one overnight. Who knows? So look after yourself, one and all. And I won't be on tomorrow night. Taking a night off with Mrs. Angry we're probably going to be watching The Crown, actually. Watch the first 3 or 4 episodes, watch some more of it tomorrow night. But I probably will be on a live stream on Tuesday. I may well reduce the number of live streams, but then again, I might not. It's a weird and strange and wonderful world. Who knows what's going to happen? Not I, but you'll look after yourselves anyway. I'm going to head off for an early night.